All right, everybody, welcome back. I'm Ellis, of course, right here at Super Bowl 45 at the Media Center, Dallas Sheraton, joined right now by LaVar Arrington. You know him, you remember him quite well with the Washington Redskins, former NFL great, Penn State great, and, of course, North Hills great as well back home in Pittsburgh. LaVar, thanks so much for giving us a few minutes.
It's a pleasure to be on. Anytime I can reconnect with my roots and give an interview, I'm all for it.
And you've always been like that. This isn't anything new. You were like that through your career, whether, again, it was at Penn State, whether it was in the NFL or anywhere else.
Well, to me, it's important to show the people that were a part of your career and the part of your development the proper respect and give them time to be a part of you and you be a part of them. So something I learned from my parents, the way you give is the way you receive, and I've given so much to be a Pittsburgh native and given so much a Penn State alum, and that's why I'm who I am, and that's why I'm where I'm at in my life. So anytime I can give back and be a part of that whole thing, and obviously it being a Pittsburgh Super Bowl this year, it's pretty exciting for me to be here and have the opportunity to talk to you.
Well, thanks so much. And you're homegrown, whereas Ike Taylor, he didn't come up back home like we did, but I had a very interesting conversation with him today, and he talked about how special Pittsburgh is and how it was very important for him when he left Louisiana to come to a place as real as Pittsburgh. I think, take that, if not for granted, that's just who we are, but for people to come in and see that and feel that, I think that really is a testament to what we're talking about.
I think the reason why Pittsburgh Steelers teams are able to have so much success is that you see the consistency of how our community connects with our players, and you ultimately see it's no surprise that you see the same mentalities from the Steel Curtain teams all the way to the present day. They all take on the same type of personality, the characteristics. It's because it's a city thing. Our city is hard, tough grit. Our city is blue collar. Our city is take no mess and let's keep it going. And you know what? These guys take it and they run with it and they embrace it. That's why we see our players that play for the Pittsburgh Steelers come with that mentality year in and year out. So to be an individual that actually is a product of it, and you were able to see it with the teams that I played for over the years, I'm proud of my lineage. I'm proud of being from Pittsburgh and playing my football years at North Hills High. It's something that I carry with me every day of my life.
LaVar, a lot of people, I think, can take that for granted. I know talking to Ike today, he made the reference that fans are spoiled, and I've also pointed out it's not even real to have the opportunity to be at Super Bowls with the frequency the Steelers do. From your perspective as a player, talk about how special it is just to make the ride or be able to have the chance to make the ride once, let alone have all these opportunities the Steelers are having.
I made it past the first round of the playoffs. That was as far as a professional athlete as I was able to make it. So.
And how'd that leave you?
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
So I can't really say I don't know what it feels like to play in a Super Bowl.
Right.
Don't know what it feels like to be in one. So it's very difficult to say one way or the other because I don't know.
Right.
So, but you do know, growing up in Pittsburgh, that's a requirement. I wouldn't say fans are spoiled. I would say fans expect, and I believe because of the history that comes from Art Sr. and from those days with Chuck Noll and all those great players that played back then. The Ike Taylors, the James Ferriers, the Ryan Clarks, the Troy Palomalos, the James Harrisons, the Ben Roethlisbergers, they have to play the way that they play. It's a requirement. It's not a spoiled thing. It's you feed off of them and they feed off of you. And to have that dichotomy, believe me, don't take that for granted because that's not a given that you have that throughout the league. I know. So it's I think it's a requirement, and I think that it's something that obviously those guys embrace, and it could be a little bit of being spoiled, but again, that's something people say I'm spoiled all the time. My response is, well, I work to be spoiled. So if I'm spoiled, it's because I worked hard enough to put myself in that position.
Yeah, some of those, maybe not that specific thought, but I've had this conversation with Ryan Mundy, a Pittsburgh native, Woodland Hills, of course, with the Steelers, and just the impact of having that Steeler and Pittsburgh background. Very quickly, bring us up to snuff with you. Obviously, you're doing some work down here. You do a great job down in Washington with your show.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I do a radio show in Washington, D.C., it's the LaVar Arrington show with Chad Dukes, and we go on 2 to 7 every day, and we do what I consider to be the best sports radio talk show in D.C. And
how'd you get into that?
I guess being a part of interviewing for so many years, I had, I guess, a natural respect for the media and what they do, and I just wanted to explore a different challenge and see if I would be able to do it and do it successfully. And so I jumped into it, head first. I jumped into it, and so far it's been really good.
Yeah, so far you've been really busy. Just watching you the last hour or so, a lot of friends of yours, former players and otherwise, here today, and it seems like you have an opportunity to catch up with them. Talk about this scene.
That's always a pleasure to be able to see guys that you played with, that you played against, and have just great respect for. And that I think that's consistent. That's the consistent theme with anybody that plays football. I think that for all of the things that take place where people don't want their kids playing the sport because of how physical it may be and different things like that, I honestly believe that the camaraderie and the brotherhood that you see being exhibited at places like this only comes from being in a game that's so physical and so I guess trying on your body. So just to have the opportunity to see guys that I grew up respecting and wanting to be like, and seeing guys that grew up watching me and respected me and want to be like me, and we all have those opportunities to see one another. Radio has given me that opportunity, and I really enjoy these times that I'm here.
What's your take on the game? What are you talking about to your audience?
I've been stressing the offensive lines and defensive lines.
Nobody wants to talk about that.
I think that everything else, all things given, I think whoever can slow down these defensive fronts is the team that has the inside advantage. I believe that the experience of this defense of Pittsburgh will make sure that those defensive linemen are in the right places. Obviously, Casey Hampton is a veteran himself. I just really believe that it's going to be very difficult for that Green Bay offensive line to be able to deal with that defensive front. I think Ziggy Hood has played his tail off all year. I think Kiesel is a pretty cool guy. I love his beard, but besides that, he can really play. So, and then that goes without saying with Casey Hampton. I think those guys have a phenomenal defensive front, and so does Green Bay. But I think that they can game plan a little bit better, in my opinion. I think they'll be able to game plan a little bit better with Green Bay's defensive front. Plus, they're a little younger. Raji is a baller, but he's a baby, and so you don't know if this stage may be too big for him at this point in his career, and maybe I'm off base by saying that. Maybe he'll go out there and show the world that he's one of the premier defensive linemen in the league. But just at a glance, just knowing what I know and what I've watched and what I've seen, this Steeler team knows how to win through it all, with Ben, without Ben, with players, without players. And I think it'll come down to the defensive fronts, and I think that the Steelers will probably have a little bit more success in that defensive front, which obviously opens up more things for other players.
Yeah, that's talked out by a guy that played the game. I mean, that's something obviously that's not getting as much attention. Pardon the interruption earlier, but I talked to Casey Hampton about this very thing today, And there goes right back to what you're talking about as well. Look, it came full circle. I told you off the air here a moment ago that when you were still in high school going, I can still remember the Curbstone Coaches Luncheon at Three Rivers Stadium. You were coming up, and I was making a change in my career, and I went to the same event you were at once. We spoke briefly. Here we are 15 or whatever years later. And you know what? I've always framed what I've seen from you and watched from you and heard about you in that positive light, and I'm glad to have done it. Thanks so much, LaVar. All right. You too. God bless. You need anything else on your end, let me know. All right. All right. Hey, we got to start a tradition. This is a Pittsburgh Sports Report. I never thought of this. Maybe you can sign it. Yeah, hold on. I never thought about that at all. But yeah, we could. That's the first time we've ever done. Oh, we got a Sharpie? Well, we'll get the Sharpie going then. He's the producer,
There we go.
Yeah, that'll be pretty good. Yeah, I never even thought about that. But I put it out right before you talked. All right, there you go. Anyway. Yeah, right.
Mr. Rooney. What an awesome guy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thanks so much, LaVar. Be safe, man. All right. Take care.